Mr. Beast is looking to raise $150 million, valuing his whole business at $1.5 billion. But it's not really clear entirely what his underlying business is and how the $1.5 billion, like what are you actually investing in? Because it's kind of complicated. So in this video, I'm going to break down each of the different businesses Mr. Beast has and how he structurally set them up so we can understand, okay, if he's able to value his business at $1.5 billion, how much is he actually worth after that? And how has he even been able to set up and operate so many different businesses with his crazy busy schedule? How can one man do this? So if we start with the Axios report, all right? 3 sources familiar with the conversation told Axios Mr. Beast is trying to raise $150 million, valuing his business at $1.5 billion. That is a lot of money. And who am I, by the way, in case you don't know? My name's Calvin Caracciolo. I'm pretty popular on TikTok. Anyway, enough of that. So we're going to start with Knight. So Knight is the talent management company that manages Mr. Beast. They have a bunch of different other arms, but we're going to start here. And so if you're trying to understand, the entire business, how much does Mr. Beast own and what are the different equity components? The talent arm of Knight probably owns a small percentage of all of his businesses. And the reason I say that is because his manager, Reed, who's the one that sets up everything business-wise, he's helping Mr. Beast set up all of his different business ventures. So you got to believe that Knight, his agency, is taking a cut of everything. So we're going to pause that, put it to the side for a minute, and jump into all the rest of his businesses. But keep in mind, when I'm saying Mr. Beast owns this entire thing, there's probably some small percentage that's owned by Knight because they're the ones that are helping set up all of these business ventures with Mr. Beast. And if we look underneath Knight Talent, we'll see, they manage Mr. Beast, Preston, Carl, all these other people who I don't really know. I know this guy, Matt Stoney. But again, this management firm, or I guess management agency, has a lot of star power in it. And they've done an amazing job at building up Mr. Beast's business. So let's start off first with the YouTube channels. We've got the Mr. Beast Game channel, which we all know. Then we have Beast Philanthropy, where he does his charity stuff, gaming, reacts, shorts, and I guess the second channel. This is probably all entirely owned by Mr. Beast. That's like his core business. Maybe Knight has a cut of the equity in this. I don't know, but this is all Mr. Beast. And we can't forget as well, too, he has all of the different languages. So thank you, Mr. Demon193, for sharing this. He's got, let's see if I can understand any of these. He's got Mr. Beast in Espanol. He's got Beast Reacts in Spanish, regular Mr. Beast in Spanish. I see some Arabic here, some Japanese, some Portuguese with Brazil. So again, the YouTube business and all the ad revenue that he makes from it, likely entirely owned by Mr. Beast and his company at this point. So that's the simplest one. After that, we're going to move on to merch, a very simple business. If we look at it, you can shop a bunch of different types of clothing. And, okay, we got the classic Mr. Beast hoodie, Beast sweater, Beast shirt. But anyhow, this is another core business where I believe that the entirety of this business is likely owned by Mr. Beast's company. And I haven't seen any sort of other collaborations. I mean, obviously he has suppliers that need to create everything and the marketing, yada, 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 but the core business likely owned by Mr. Beast and his company. Now we get into the more tricky stuff. Okay, Mr. Beast Burger. So we know Mr. Beast Burger. You've heard of them, and aside from the place they just opened in New Jersey, you can go on these food ordering apps and you can order Mr. Beast Burger wherever. And the way they do that, if you don't already know, is ghost kitchens. So ghost kitchens are where you have this unmarked kitchen and no sign on the outside saying come in and shop. And there, you're able to cook a bunch of different restaurants' food, right? And Mr. Beast Burger is one of them. He sends them the instructions, they make it, they get a cut of the money, and he gets a cut of the money as well, too, from the sales. But how he set it up is not as straightforward as you might realize. So enter Virtual Dining Concepts. Virtual Dining Concepts is, let's see what they say here. Add a virtual restaurant to your kitchen today. It's easy and profitable. And they have all these different brands. So basically what they do is they find famous people, right? Oh, you got Face Subs, which we know about. And they go, hey, if you want to do the ghost kitchen thing and you don't have time for this, let us help you set it up. We'll probably help with product creation, branding, marketing, fulfillment, everything like that. We'll build out your virtual kitchen network. And in exchange, we take a profit share. So that's what it says here. Every dollar sold can yield you 30% or more that you keep. I believe they go more in depth where they say you get a percentage of sales from day one with upside and growth. So it's positioned as a profit share where, similar to Ghost Kitchen, that they're setting up everything, you own it, and you get a cut of the revenue, they get a cut of the revenue. But it might not be that straightforward. Now, this is me speculating here, but if I'm Virtual Dining Concepts and I'm setting up Beast Burger, okay, I'm going to be wanting to get an equity stake in that company. So although you advertise, we're doing profit share, this and that, you don't need to have the exact same deal with every single creator that you work with. My guess here is that Mr. Beast likely doesn't own 100% of Beast Burger, but more likely than not, some equity percentage of it is owned by Virtual Dining Concepts. So again, when we're trying to think about if he's able to value his business at $1.5 billion, that doesn't mean Mr. Beast himself is worth $1.5 billion. You've got Knight that's taking an equity stake. You've got Virtual Dining Concepts, which the sub stake of Beast Burger, they're taking money out as well. So you can see Virtual Dining Concepts, they work with a bunch of different people. I think this guy's name is Larray. You've also got Mariah Carey, Mario Lopez. So a bunch of top people, right? And so they say here, we'll create your vision, we'll work with you to create the menu, we'll market the brand, and then we do profit share model. But again, I am suspect on if they do profit share with Mr. Beast, because to not get an equity stake in that company that you're basically doing all of the operations for would be a major error in my opinion. But again, personal opinion, don't know for sure. That's the first complicated one. The next complicated one is Feastables. So we all know and love, well, I guess we got to be the first to know. I don't want to be first to know. And so you can see, okay, Feastables times Corpse, their new collaboration. Feastables is his better for you snack brand, right? So, okay, it's still a chocolate bar, so it's not as healthy as, I don't know, like a protein bar or granola bar or something, but it's better than Hershey's, right? That's the way they're positioning it. A lot of this stuff, I think, has like lower sugar. I don't know. That's how they position it. And they don't just have the chocolate bar. They have the cookies now too. I think he was talking the other day about making granola bars. So this is the snack brand. And this one is actually not entirely owned by Mr. Beast. If you look at the same Axios report that we were in before, back in January, Feastables raised $5 million at a valuation of $50 million. Companies like 776, Shrug Capital, and Sugar Capital were a part of the fundraise. So when you're looking at that $1.5 billion valuation, a subset of that is Feastables, and underneath that, you can see that 10% of Feastables has already been sold. So again, another subset that is not directly tied to Jimmy and net worth. Outside investors own that percentage. Now, how has he structured this? So it's different from Beast Burger, where Beast Burger is a joint venture, where Virtual Dining Concepts is managing and maintaining a lot of the operations. Here, we got a guy like this, Jim Murray, co-founder of Feastables and former president of RX Bar. And RX Bar is interesting because they're a company where eventually they had a massive exit. They sold their company. And so here we have, Feastables is basically being operated by an extension of the Mr. Beast company, but it's not a third-party Virtual Dining Concepts. They're handling the product creation, the distribution, everything is internal here. Maybe they hire outside agencies to help with stuff, but this is an internal company. But 10% of that already sold to investors. And then we have the business that we've heard about before, but no one's really gone crazy in depth with it. Mr. Beast, we know that he has all the international languages. And this is a classic thing that'll happen in business where a business will solve a problem for themselves. And they say, hey, there's a lot of other businesses that have the same problem. Why don't we take our solution and sell it to other people? And so I'll let Jimmy explain how this works in this video when he did an interview with Graham Stephan.
Do you know how many income sources you have?
That's an interesting one. Well, let's see. We have Beast Burger, Feastables. We have a company where we dub channels, which runs our Mr. Beast Espanol.
There you go. We have a company that dubs channels, and it's really hard to like. It pops up for a half second.
Feastables. We have a company where we.
Here we go. Creator Global. So this company, like when you Google Creator Global, you can't find it. I think at one point they had a website, creator.global, but it's not there anymore when I looked it up. But the reason why this is different than just taking videos and slapping translations on them with a robot is that they localize it, right? So they find highly talented actors, like famous actors from local regions, and have them dub the voice. So it's the voice of, I forget if it was Spider-Man or Batman, but they're actually being the voice of a main character like Carl or Beast or whatever. And so it's fun. And they even localize the memes. So there'll be a joke that maybe is popular in America, but in Brazil it's not. So they'll have a local writer that will have the meme in the video be more localized. And so apparently with this Creator Global company, Mr. Beast has been helping other, I'm not sure if it's content creators or other just video makers in general, localize their content. And so that way your audience isn't just limited to English speakers. So is this part of the 1.5 billion? I don't know. Axios didn't say anything about this company. Mr. Beast kind of mentions it casually offhand, and you can't find it anywhere. So is this a big part of his business? Is this part of the 1.5 billion? Is it completely spun off? Is it entirely run by him? I don't know. This one is a big question mark. So let me know in the comments if you know more about this business, because I would love to know more about it. Now, he's getting this money. What is his plan for the 150 million? How is this going to fund growth? There's probably obvious things that can help with distributing your content further. Maybe you can do more marketing. Maybe you can scale up your different businesses faster. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with $150 million. And it's actually pretty crazy that in an economy that's doing so poorly lately, all big tech companies are just getting annihilated. Mr. Beast is like, oh, I'm just here to get 150 million. Like everything's fine, right? But what are some different expansion areas? So we actually talked about this briefly in Graham Stephan's interview as well. So we'll play that here.
Stemming off from that, next I really want to get into making mobile games. I think that'd be a lot of fun because we have a gaming channel that gets like 20 million views a video. We did the Finger on the App challenge. We had 2 million concurrent players, and I didn't even mention it in a video. That was just like on Twitter and Instagram.
I think Jack tried it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's like a couple hours.
yeah, but so that was kind of a case study. Like I can get millions of people to play a game. So I want to build mobile games. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then I really want to scale up Feastables, launch new products. We're going to launch cookies, and then next I want to do like well, I don't want to say what's after that, but it'll be a great product. And then Beast Burger, we're getting into building physical locations. So in 2 weeks we open our first physical Beast Burger.
Yeah, and so he's talking there about the New Jersey store that he opened. But as you can see, they're looking to expand into mobile games. This is significant because on a Beast main channel, he'll put in a mobile game ad and he'll make, I think he said on the record, over $1 million on those advertisements. But the way brand deals work is that for the brand, there's an entire spectrum of value. And they pay the creator, let's say this guy $1 million, but the only reason they're paying him is because he generates more than $1 million in value for the brand. That's how business works. So at the highest level, we've seen a lot of different people, like Jake Paul started his platform better, and it's the same thing where why would I have these offshore casinos pay me money when I can start my own platform? Whether or not you think it's ethical or not, it's besides the point. You see a lot of creators that will do all these brand promotions for clothing companies. And so a lot of these creators will say, wow, if they're going to pay me $1 million to promote their product, why don't I just start my own company that does the exact same thing because clearly my audience likes it. But instead of only making $1 million, you're capturing, I don't know, maybe $2 million of value, maybe more. And the best thing about mobile gaming is that it's infinitely scalable. Everyone in the world can play it. And it's something that people can keep coming back to in their daily life and continue to build that brand trust with Mr. Beast. If you want to hear more stories, because I can only do about one of these a week right now, check out my newsletter, creatorbusiness.io. Here's an example. Let me bring you to the homepage. We've got stuff like Ludwig launching his creative agency, Mr. Beast revealing his business numbers, how much, X Nelk podcast made. It's basically like Morning Brew or The Hustle, but for creator business. So it's got, you got your stocks, Twitter's not a stock anymore, I guess, but you have a little joke, and then you have the 3 different main titles here. So Sidemen invested in ghost hotels, if you didn't know that. We're also looking for advertisers, and Mr. Beast launching a Feastables bar. And, I'll break it down. So it's an email newsletter. If you sign up, you'd be an absolute hero, and once every 2 weeks, you're going to get the best creator business news stories delivered directly to your email. I'm Calvin Crutchlow. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.